Well, aloha everyone, good morning, good afternoon even, and welcome to the Secret Heart of Art of Huna Live today, where I'm going to be talking about what is Huna. I'll introduce myself properly in a minute, but really today is for people. I've been running Secret Art of Huna now for over 2 years, and there's a lot of people joined, a lot of people expressed interest in Huna. And I know that for some of you, it's a kind of a curiosity, but you don't really know very much about it. So this is particularly for you, but it's also for any of my friends, my colleagues, my peers who are interested in hearing my take on what Huna is. So I'm Dr. Jane Lewis. I'm an ordained interfaith minister. I have a PhD in spirituality and leadership, and the topic of spirituality that I covered in depth was Huna. And I've been studying it now for about 23 years and teaching it at workshops in Hawaii for 15 years. So I've been immersed in it for a long time. Huna saved my life. It really did. I was depressed, and it turned everything around for me. It makes me possible. It made it possible for me to believe that it was possible to be happy. So I am now happy. I am now grateful. And so much of that has been down to Huna and the practices that I learned. And that's why I'm such an advocate for it, because I know what it can do for you. I know what it did for me. It's down to Huna that I have the relationship that I have. Obviously, I took some steps on my own, but so much of that was down to Huna and changing my thinking and using Huna in the way I thought about myself. Financially, the attitude that I had to money was not great, but working with Huna, I've been able to develop my attitude towards money, and I feel really comfortable financially. So Huna's done many, many things for me. And as I say, I'm an absolute advocate for it. So one of the things that I can't tell at the moment is whether there's anybody on the live, anybody actually sharing this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nip over to my phone and see if we're actually live here. And then I can see comments and all that sort of thing. Oh, we are. That's good. Excellent. So yes, for me personally, lots and lots of reasons to be an advocate for Huna, to teach it, to share it. And I know that for many of the people that I've studied Huna alongside, the same thing is also true. Hi, Simone. Good afternoon. Lovely to see you there. So when we talk about Huna, what is this thing that we call Huna? Well, let's start with the name, because the name is a Hawaiian word. Huna is a Hawaiian word, and it means secret, because for many, many years, I mean, hundreds of years, Huna was at one level closely guarded. Now, Huna, if you do the quick talk, Huna is the spiritual, energetic, shamanistic, and healing practices of the ancient Hawaiians. That's kind of the quick definition. But actually, Huna is much, much more than that. It's very fundamental to the Hawaiian way of being, the Hawaiian way of life. It's a very Western thing to separate out a lot of our more spiritual healing and energetic practices. So on the one hand, I have the spiritual healing and the energetic, and on the other hand, I have life. It's not like that in the Hawaiian system. They're all part and parcel of the same thing. So we don't separate in the way that the West does. And to say that it was carefully guarded, yes and no. Because it was so much part of life, people didn't guard it, but there were experts. Kahuna means an expert, and there were many different kinds of experts. There were canoe experts, there were healing experts, there were fishing experts. There were experts across the many disciplines. And each expert set of teaching, so canoe building or fishing, they might have knowledge that was kept hidden for a while, but eventually people would come to know. So the canoe builders, they knew how canoe building wasn't just sort of taking a bit of wood and putting it together. It started with choosing the right tree, and you'd go out and you'd talk to the tree, you'd connect with the tree, and you'd either get a sign or a symbol that this was the right tree, or you'd get a feeling in your na'au, a feeling inside that this was the right tree. That's really where the secret bit was. So many of these teachings had a secret aspect. It was the aspect that wasn't generally known. But in the 19th century, with the coming of more and more missionaries and other Westerners to Hawaii, the teachings, the old ways started to be driven underground because, hi Chantal, they were not regarded as, they weren't Christian, so they weren't regarded as Christian, and they weren't regarded as proper, whatever that might mean. So they became illegal. They were actually made illegal. They went underground. And even if they hadn't been illegal, there was the danger that they would be corrupted. So a lot of the people who knew about Huna wouldn't share it. And then there was the fact that in the 60s and 70s, Huna anyway became a little bit uncool. So families who'd been brought up in the Huna tradition didn't want to share it. The kids didn't want to learn it, which is why my teacher's father, so Tad James, arrived in Hawaii. He was transcendental meditator at the time, arrived in Hawaii, and somebody realized that he was somebody they could teach Huna to, teach the ancient teachings to perpetuate them. Because Daddy Bray, Papa Bray, the lineage that I know, Papa Bray's family, they didn't want it. They didn't want to perpetuate it. So Huna is a Hawaiian word. It means secret. It's not what the Hawaiians would call this, but it has a truth about it because it is to some level unseen. It was to some level not shared, not explored, and it certainly became very uncool in the 60s and 70s. It's actually become pretty cool now. So a lot of people are interested. A friend of mine, Dr. Patrick Scott. Patrick Scott is also a kumu Huna. Kumu means teacher, but it's like an honorary title. You don't give it to yourself. Someone else gives it to you. Your teacher gives it to you. And he and I are both kumu Hunas. It's a bit like having it's a bit like an honorary PhD or something. Anyway, so Dr. Patrick Scott, Patrick talks about Huna as being, it's like yoga for the mind. So it's a set of tools and techniques and practices that come from the Hawaiian tradition that expand your mind, expand your consciousness, expand your connection, deepen your connection, both with yourself and with Source. And of course, when you're more deeply connected with yourself and you're more deeply connected with Source, then you're more deeply connected with the planet around you. The late, great John Kaimikawa, who is a teacher of ours, wonderful, wonderful man. And he used to say that if you want to be really pono, really right with yourself, really connected with yourself, then you needed to be connected in 3 directions. The first direction was with the planet and everything on the planet. So that's humans and animals and plants. It's the entire package that we call the planet. And how relevant that is now today. I was watching David Attenborough's program last night about extinction, how we're extinguishing species because we've lost that connection to the planet. So John would say that you have to be connected to the planet and everything on it and aware and conscious of the planet. You need to be connected to Keakua, which is the Hawaiian word for God. And it can also mean source, the universe, God, that sense of a higher organization. So connected with God and connected with yourself. And it's so easy in these days to be disconnected from yourself. I know that when I was doing the whole clinical depression thing, one of the reasons I think why I was clinically depressed was I'd lost my connection with myself. And because I'd lost my connection with myself and I didn't have any connection really with God or source or universe, I had when I was a teenager, but I'd kind of put that to one side. It was really difficult to feel that sense of wholeness and connectedness and happiness and joy. Because when you are connected, that happiness and that joy really, really comes in. So Huna covers a number of different things. As I said, you can sort of very quickly describe it as the energetic and the shamanic and the healing and the spiritual practices of the Hawaiians. But within that, there's a number of things that Huna covers. So we do teach a lot of tools and techniques for releasing things in yourself, old beliefs, old emotions, suppressed stuff that's holding you back or doesn't allow you to really become the person that you want to be and have what you want to have in your life. So we teach tools and techniques for that. We teach Ho'oponopono. A lot of people have heard of Ho'oponopono now because Joe Vitale has amazingly gone out there and shared it with a lot of people. He's a professional marketer. He knows how to market. He's shared it. The way we teach Ho'oponopono in the lineage I teach is a little bit different, but it's still Ho'oponopono. It's still the making everything right with you and with me so that we can come to a place of forgiveness. So Ho'oponopono. We also teach connection with the higher self, with source. So we teach how to connect. We teach about connection with the elements, how to become really aware of there's 5 elements in the Hawaiian system, the 5 elements, and how when we work with them, how our connection with the planet, how our connection with everything around us becomes so much more special and deep and truly magnificent, and gives us that ability to really draw on different aspects. So if you want to be more grounded, drawing on earth, how to draw on fire so that you can be more passionate and motivated when you're sitting there thinking. Mm-hmm. So we teach connection with the elements. We teach dream interpretation. Very important part in the tradition. It was a very important part of the healing process to learn how to interpret your dreams. We teach a model of psychology, a Hawaiian model of psychology, where there's the higher self, there's the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. It's a model that's been around for hundreds of years. And of course, Freud started to describe it in the 19th century, I think, and then Jung in the 20th century. So there's a psychology behind it as well. We teach healing practices. You can use the elements for healing yourself and healing other people. We teach we teach a lot around. We have a whole energy system. Reiki's the nearest parallel. It's not Reiki. It works differently with their Reiki, but it's using symbols, which Reiki also uses. It's using symbols to draw in energy and describe energy and talk about energy and feel energy and send energy to others and use energy. And there's much, much more. So Huna's about an awful lot, but ultimately it's about learning how to be more deeply connected with yourself, more deeply connected with the planet and the people around you and the animals and all the parts of the planet, being more connected to source, higher self, God, whatever you call that. And through that to really bring in joy and happiness. That's really the essence of what it's about. And to be honest, the easiest way for me to teach it is for me to give you an experience of it. So if you're interested in that, stay connected to the Facebook page, stay connected, like the Facebook page and stay connected to it. Ladies, you can join the Secret Art of Huna for Powerful Transformation Facebook group. I talk about it on LinkedIn. And from time to time, I do share tools and techniques. Hi, Sheila. I run webinars. So there are plenty of ways for you to get more deeply under it. But just as a really quick idea of some things that you can do with Huna. One of the things that you can do with Huna is a quick breathing process. And the great thing about this breathing process is that it actually is brilliant for stress because it connects you with the relaxed part of your nervous system, what they call the autonomic nervous system. Certain breathing processes hook you up to your autonomic nervous system, really help you relax. And the Huna one is where you breathe in through your nose out through your mouth. And the out breath is twice as long as the in breath. So it's just breathing like this. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. And as you're doing it, just start to notice a calmness coming in. And you can do this anywhere, anytime, for any length of time, particularly if you need just to connect with a bit of relaxation, a little bit of de-stress. I do it first thing in the morning, sets me up for the day. And I'll quite often do it at night before I go to sleep, just lying down. It takes me into sleep if I do it lying down. There's meditation. If you meditate already, then meditation is such a powerful way of connecting up with yourself and with that higher sense. So we have a particular meditation that we teach. Another thing that you can do is to use peripheral vision. Now, I've got a video on that on YouTube, and what I'll do is I'll put the video linking to that in the comments so that you can learn how to go into peripheral vision. Because just like the breathing, peripheral vision hooks you up to that relaxed part of your nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, in fact, so that you can actually be relaxed. And it's wonderful if you go out in nature in expanded awareness in Hakalau, as it's known in Hawaii. If you go out into nature in Hakalau, it looks like the trees are walking alongside you. It's quite extraordinary. So that's a couple of things that you can do easily and quickly to get into a kind of Huna groove. And if you'd like to learn more, book a session with me, secretartofhuna.com/diary, and you can book a complimentary session. Or as I say, find me on LinkedIn, hook in on Facebook, Secret Art of Huna. I like the page. Ladies, join the Secret Art of Huna for Powerful Transformation Group. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere along the journey. Love to hear your comments. I know that some of you will be watching this on the replay. 12:30 UK time isn't the right time for everybody. 12:30 on a Monday UK time, but it's the right time for some because there's some here. So yeah, love to hook up with you and find out what you think, and let me know what you'd like to know about Huna. What else can I tell you? What else would you like me to share? Pop them in the comments or just get in touch. What would you like to know about Huna? And I'm back, same time, same place. That's 12:30 Monday. I'll be back with a Facebook Live next week again. See you very soon. Lots of love, lots of aloha. And I need to end this. Oops. There we go. See you soon.